I've always been sort of a clumsy kid, and this story is no different. It was like 2011 in Virginia on a very sunny, beautiful day, and so I was with my family, like my mom, my dad, my sister, my cousins, and my aunt and uncle, and we were gonna have a really great day, go to like the public pool and have pizza, and that was like the best thing like a 5 or 6 year old could like imagine. And so we go to the pool, and we're all swimming, and I'm swimming in the shallow end, and I smack my head on the bottom of the pool, and my chin, it smacked my chin on the bottom, and like I kind of had that moment, like, uh-oh, and I got out of the pool and looked at my mom. She's like, go to the lifeguard right now. And so I went there, and he looked horrified, and just put a lot of gauze on my face. And so me and my mom went to the hospital, which was obviously very fun because it's a new hospital in a different state, and I hadn't been to the hospital before, so it was probably a very, very fun and comfortable experience for a 5-year-old. And so the highlight of my hospital trip, well, there's two, but one of them was that I got pizza, which is pretty cool, but part of it wasn't very cool because it had like peppers and onions on it, and I did not appreciate that. After like waiting like 90 minutes maybe, we finally got into like one of the rooms where they could be like, okay, what's up? So the nurse lady was like, sat me in a chair, and she was like, okay, we're gonna sew your chin up, and I'm like, okay. And so I saw this like huge machine that like looked like a sewing machine. They just put it on my face and went and that was very quick, but I can imagine, like I can't really remember it, but I can imagine that I was just kind of like gripping the chair like, okay. And after that, I got a popsicle, and that was the second highlight. And I mean, basically anything with food I'm very happy about. And so basically what I've learned is don't be very dumb.
Madeline, honor your own deck, and then
oh, my feet are asleep.
Your feet are asleep?
Both of them.
Step on them.
hey Madeline.
So I go to camp every year, and we always have to do a trip. And my trips always suck. You know, it's a recurring theme in my life. And my first trip, which was like my first long trip, so 2 nights in the wilderness, you know, crazy. And we go to sleep, well I go to sleep because I'm lazy and tired. And the rest of my trip goes and tries to throw up the bear pack, so you know a bear can't go near our campsite. And wouldn't you know it, they find a bear. They come running back, and all 8 of them scram into my tent, and we're all stuck in there. One girl tripped over the other, and she may have broke her arm. I don't know. So we have one girl crying, the counselor's trying to console her, all of us screaming because they think there's a bear. Then I hear some guy at sunset fishing, and they all start screaming because they think it's a bear. Good first trip, honestly. But that was only the first night, so I had another night to endure. And the next night, we all got like poison ivy. Pretty fun, right? The next year, I go on a canoe trip, which I like better, because you just sit in a boat and paddle for a couple of hours, and then you can reach a campsite. So we go on this trip, we get to a split between the 2 rivers. My camp's in like northern Wisconsin near the border to Canada. We go down this river, we think it's the right river. We end up in Michigan, and you know, things are not looking too good, because we just paddled for 10 hours, and most of us are very exhausted. So we have to turn back around and go where we got dropped off. Then we had to sleep in a parking lot, you know, fun things. And it was a pretty terrible trip. Most people cried, we got evacuated. Pretty funny. The next year, they ran out of trips to give the older girls because I had to go on a 3-night trip that year. And what happened was they put us on the same trip as I did the year before. And I noticed that we were going down a river that looked really familiar. And it turns out it was that river to Michigan. We finally got to the end though, but we'd actually sleep at the end of the river. So you know. And when we got there, we were trying to look for a campsite, and we just found a whole like area of burnt trees. Most girls were pretty upset, but I'm like, I've done this before. I understand. And so the next day we paddle more. Then it starts raining. We sleep in soggy tents and soggy sleeping bags. It's pretty terrible. I was pretty okay, honestly. I was like, what could get worse than a girl breaking her arm, a bear, and, Michigan. And it's true. Flint, maybe. And we finally finished the trip, and everybody was crying at a certain point. A girl wore Adidas on a canoeing trip. That was not a smart decision, so she was pretty upset. We had to carry canoes over our heads through a river, which was, the water was going against us, and I was just laughing because I was like, what can get worse, and I got pretty used to it. But we finally reached the end of that river. It was sunset, and it was pretty nice. There was a pontoon next to the campsite next to us, and we're like, what's the time? Because they don't let us have watches, so we don't know the time. And so I screamed, what's the time? And they're like, they know that we're not allowed to know the time, so they're like, 6-ish? I don't know. And we were pretty upset, because that's the only time you'll ever get to know what time it is. And so we slept, we woke up, my lip was swollen, both of them. I looked like Kylie Jenner. It was pretty, I'm being honest, but the thing is, it was natural at least, so, I was coming for a brand. And the thing is, I woke up and my friend was just laughing at me, and I didn't know why. We don't have mirrors. Then I left the tent, and I was like, hey, to the two counselors who are supposed to be responsible adults in the situation, and what's wrong? And they're like, and they see my list. The first one starts laughing. And that's the worst part. She's an adult, And the other one's pretty nice about it. She does giggle a little bit. And then, I suffered for the rest of the paddle back to, the pickup spot. And they finally come get us. But the thing is, they were late by 2 hours. So the whole time we're kind of sitting there not knowing what to do. And honestly, the reason why I kind of wanted to tell the story is because I've done the same trip twice, and I purposely kind of messed it up twice. I could have told them, we might be heading to Michigan. But I was like, are they going to trust me, the one who's been to Michigan? Obviously. And so it was pretty funny because everybody else was frustrated except for me. And honestly, I would do the trip again, Michigan style. And I'm being honest. And it made me realize you just got to make negative situations even if you can prevent them. Okay, who's next? The
good thing is it's natural, not fake.
Okay.
I was ready to sell it there.
I just laughed.
Should I go? Yeah, let's change to, okay, after time. Okay, here we go.
Okay, so, as an 8-year-old, I love sleepovers, and I thought this one was going to be just the same. Well, that's what I thought. So, for this sleepover, it starts in my mom's car. We're going over, oh, do you have your sleeping bag? Do you have your pillow? Do you have everything? And I'm like, yes, Mom, yes. And so, I get to my friend Dylan's house. So, there are 4 of us, right? Me, my friend Julian, my friend Caleb, and my friend Dylan, who's hosting the party. And so, get to my friend Dylan's house. His mom opens the door. She's like, hello. Dylan comes. He says hello. I say hello back. And then we have dinner, right? All my friends were there. We had dinner. And so after we had dinner, it was time to have fun. And so we went downstairs. We played Minecraft. We did tons of fun stuff. And then it was time to go to sleep. But wait. It's a sleepover. We don't have to go to sleep. Wait, no. We have to go to sleep. But we did go to sleep because we were very smart, and sarcastic, and so we didn't go to sleep because we wanted to see what it was like to stay up really late. So we stayed up till 4 o'clock in the morning, and so I was getting a little skeptical because, so for the first few hours we were just talking to each other, making conversation. Then towards 3 o'clock in the morning, we started getting a little rambunctious. We started running around. We started chasing each other and literally sounding like 4 people screaming in the basement. There was no door, and so
I got scared, and I knew this was gonna happen, but Dylan's mom comes downstairs and is like, screams at us and is like, go to sleep, but not like that, like screams at us, not like nice, voice, just like angry. I just got up at 4 a.m. because of you kids. Go to sleep. And so we all go to sleep because we were scared. And then I woke up at like 7:30, and I got really sad because I woke up after all my other friends and they'd already eaten breakfast. And so I go eat breakfast. I go downstairs, we play, but then it was time to go at like 10:30. And so my mom comes, she picks me up. I'm so happy because I just had a really fun time with my friends. And I'm about to take a nap when I get home. And I was talking to my mom about, oh, I'm gonna take a nap, I'm gonna take a nap, I'm gonna take a nap, over and over again, just to like rub it in her face, sort of, but I don't see how. Because that worked out because she told me I had a soccer game after that. And I got really, really grouchy. And I was already grouchy, but I got so grouchy, I was so mad because I realized I had to do physical activity after getting like 3, maybe 4 hours of sleep. And I was not happy. So I get home. I know it's time to go to my soccer game. I get all my stuff on. I got my shin guards. I got my socks. But I didn't have my shoes or cleats. And so I remember that I put them in my dad's car, which is like in the driveway over here. So I'm in the kitchen. And my dad asks where my cleats are. And so I go outside. So we have a door and then another door. And I open this door and I go here. And I try to point to like his car because it was right there. And then I just pointed with my right hand, like sort of like this. And I just decided, I put my hand through the window. So I just hear this crashing and I heard my hand hurt a lot. So I started crying a lot. And so I went and sat down at the kitchen table and my parents bandaged me up. I was feeling pretty lightheaded because like I lost a lot of blood. It was near my veins. So I lost a lot of blood. I got lightheaded, but I got bandaged up eventually, and then the bleeding stopped. And it was nice because the pain went away, and I got to go to sleep. And my grandparents came after that, and guess what? I didn't have to go to my soccer game. So yeah, I got to see my grandparents. I think it was a win, but I got a cut. I don't know. I personally think that was good. Because I really didn't like my soccer game, or any soccer for that matter. So, yeah, that's basically what happened with my story. Moral of the story, get enough sleep. You won't regret it.
My other games is after this break.
That was
You know what? We're almost done. We have
Counting money.
1, 2, 3. We need to
Yeah, it's in the
That's
noise.
where it sucks.
Wait, how many more are
My
there?
story sucks.
So James.
Yeah, and
James.
it's 3 o'clock right now.
James.
I'd like you to be back at school by 3:30, because some kids are getting picked up. I know
I'm
that.
getting picked up here.
Oh, okay. All right, come on into it.
Very long story.
So if we can manage 3 more, friends, I think it'd be better to just power through. If you need to go and do a pit stop, go ahead. All right.
Oh, I have to.
Hi, my name is James.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is about my field trip in Vietnam. 6 months ago, I have a field trip with my class in Vietnam, and it took about 5 hours to get to the middle of there. As usual, I woke up at 5 a.m. in the morning, and I was ready for the trip. I bought a lot of things like snack, drinks, and other stuff. On the bus, we have like a lot of games, like playing Uno or like, card games. This was very fun. We visited many places like the Coco Garden or the museum too. And after that, we went to a hotel, and this was a special one. This was separate small houses, which each contained 3 bunk beds. And after we took a rest, we played soccer and some picnic games, and it's fun. It was very fun. Everyone felt tired after that. At night, after we have dinner, we have a campfire, which is very hot outside there, and everyone's waiting. We were very excited to see that. It was late and I was very tired too. And well, we decided to sleep. But no, I and my friends had decided to stay up all night. Because no one wanted to stay with their parents. Everyone like friends to stay. And it was an extremely unforgettable night I had. As usual, I played card games and watched TV. This is the most exciting part. I will teach you how to make some prank for my friends. I mean, they didn't realize it. When it was so late, about 1 a.m., I started to play card. It's so bored, and everyone was so tired. In my room, there was like 7 people, and 3 were sleeping. First, my friend had an idea that they put the card on my friends, and they took some pictures. This was hilarious. And we were laughing, and he didn't know what happened. Then we thought about idea that we need to like poke him, but he didn't realize that. He thought it was a ghost or something bothering him, making him scared. After put those cards in, we started to do something else. We put a speaker near to his ear and put on the Light Tonight remix. Well, but he still slept. That's why we continued to poke him. Next, we took all the pillows and the blankets and turned down the temperature to 60 degrees. He was short and t-shirt, so it was very cold, but he still slept. It looked like he wanted to sleep more and more. After that, we set an alarm near to him, and actually he woke, but it's like he looked around like this, and he didn't see anything, so he slept again. We wait for a few minutes, and then we continue. Now, we got some umbrellas. I don't know why, and slipper shoes. And guess what? We will hit him with those. We just hit it enough to make him wake up. I had to turn the light off, so when he woke up, he couldn't see anything. So yeah, after a few slaps, he just moved a little bit, and we laughed so much. Also, we used an umbrella to like jab him like on the second bed, and we like put it like this, and but it fell. Finally, he woke up, and he didn't know what's going on. Everyone was laughing and told him about that. Yeah, he was embarrassed. Everyone, it's 3 a.m. right now. Right now. And we were so tired, so we sleep and we had to wake up at 6 a.m. That's only 3 hours morning to go home. After that, we told the story to everybody and my friends, and we never forgot it. It's the most exciting trip I ever had.
What's in my purse? You're gonna do it without. Yeah, I think you should. You got this. Okay. All right, and then Isabella is last after this James.
Yeah, that's me.
We got a pair of Jameses and then an Isabella.
Yeah, that's my name. My name's Bella.
It is.
Yeah.
Really? I wouldn't.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my story begins in Africa and in Kenya, the Isilia Wakero Lodge, and it was a year ago, and I was waking up that morning, just psyched for the adventures that awaited us, but then I hear that my mom is in distress, and I don't know why, but we apparently hear that our grandmother hurt her wrist. We don't exactly know what kind of fracture it is, and I thought, wow, that's just perfect. We're in a different international country. We can't pay for insurance on this, so if it's a broken wrist, we have to go back to the United States to see an orthopedist. So then my mom decides that we should go on a safari, while my dad, and then my grandmother, we actually call her Riri, had to go back to Nairobi, which is like 500 miles away, and we're like in the bush. We're in nowhere on the map and civilization nearby. So they have to go back to Nairobi while we were still at the lodge. And then we went on the safari, had a great time, saw a lot of animals. It was really cool. And then when we got back from that safari, then we heard from my father, that our grandmother did in fact break her wrist, and we do have to go back to the United States, so our trip is basically had to be canceled off. And then we had to pack up for them because they basically went to Nairobi without any without any like bag. So we had to pack up all their bags and ours, and we had to leave in the morning. It's disappointing. Didn't really kind of believe that she apparently fell on the bathroom floor at 3 a.m. in the morning. Didn't understand why. And she's 85 years old, so she has some very sore wrists. And then we went back to Nairobi the next day. We actually learned that we were going on a different airline, and my dad worked so hard to get good tickets on the other airline. So then we traveled back to the United States. It was just disappointing, also because she was the one who organized the trip, and for her to end it like that is just terrible. And then she goes to see an orthopedist in our area that actually we didn't have to pay for, so thankfully that was good. And she only needed a cast for 2 months, and she still wears a like band or something like a cast around her arm when she drives, and it was her right wrist. But for the most part, she's done. She doesn't need it anymore. And yeah. I'm done.
Okay. Stand up and wiggle around while Isabella gets up there. Move around a tiny bit. We have one more story to go, and we'll head back to school. It's 10 after 3. After Isabella's story, we're all going to pick up our garbage and reset the room before we reach out. Because we are that kind of folks. All right, Isabella. Stay finished. All right, everybody. Deep breaths and let's focus, okay? One more.
Okay. This happened.
This is the best story I've ever heard.
You know, this is silly. If you don't like it, you can leave. I don't appreciate it. I feel it.
Here we go.
Wait. A long time ago, there was a girl who lived in a little village called Chicago. She had this green pacifier. It was bright green and yellow and fluffy. It was a frog. And it had a pacifier sticking out of his head. His name was Froggy. It's mine. Okay, so this happened when I was 3 and I was living in Chicago. And my mom wanted me to get rid of the pacifier because it's like bad for your teeth. If you have them too long, you have like buck teeth, like they just stick out. And so my mom told me that there was going to be a Froggy Fairy. That the Froggy Fairy was going to come and trade. I'm going to trade my Froggy for a toy of my own. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. That sounds fun. New toy. And so I got a dollhouse. I got a little dollhouse, with a bunch of rooms, and I was like, this is the best thing ever. Nothing can top this. This is amazing. And then nighttime came. And I usually had the pacifier with me at night, like just with me, either it was in my mouth or next to me. And so I was like trying to go to sleep. I was like, yeah, no, I can't do this. So I went down the stairs, and here are the stairs, and I was probably 4 or 5, and I was short. And so I looked up at the stairs. I was like, Froggy Fairy? Can I have my froggy back? I was waiting for some, like a magical little fairy in a tutu to come down with my froggy and be like, here you go, hello. That's what my parents called me, so that's what I went by back then. And so that didn't happen. But my mom was like, oh, poor kid. She's so pathetic. And so she gave me back my pacifier and let me keep the dollhouse, so that was a win-win. And then fast forward 2 years, I was 5, living in my current house in Evanston, and my mom's like, yeah, you're getting rid of that. And I'm like, what's in it for me? And my mom's like, you can get a pet. And I was like, okay, this is better than the dollhouse. And so then I was like, I gave my mom the pacifier, and she like hid it so that I can't find it. And so in my room, I had 2 twin-size beds in case anybody stayed over for the night, family or friends. And so I slept in one of the twin beds, and my mom slept in the other one just so that I could feel safe, okay? So I was crying a lot. My mouth felt weird because I usually had a pacifier with me. And it was a rough night. You know, I did not sleep. I went to sleep, and then I woke up, and then I went back to sleep, and then I woke up, and it happened a few more times. And I was like, I want Froggy Fairy to bring me back my Froggy. But no, there was no Froggy Fairy. You're 5, no Froggy Fairy. So then morning came, and I was like, I did that. I did that. And so, you know, I was like, oh my God, I can do everything. I am awesome. This is like a proud moment for me. I'm like, wow, in shock. And then, so then my mom was like, fine, you get a pet. She was kind of hoping that I wouldn't last the night so that she didn't have to get an animal. Like, she was like, but I don't want to. And I was like, you promised. We made a pinky promise. It's a deal. You can't go back. And so, you know, I got a bunny. I don't have a moral of this story.
Okay, everybody,